Welcome to Baseball and Whatever with your hosts Justin McElwee and Vince Jankowitz.
Alrighty, everybody, what's up? Man, my voice sounds awful. It is episode 98 of Baseball and Whatever. I'm Justin. There's Vinny. We are back again with another episode. This week, we got a little bit of Cubs, a little bit of White Sox. Vinny's going to tell us who the Bears drafted because, I'll be honest, I have no clue who any of the Bears draft picks are, short of like some of the Big Ten guys. That's about all I watch. And then we're going to talk about the worst movie sequels ever made. And, I just have to take a second, Vinny. I want to call out my wife. She said Mighty Ducks 2 is one of the worst sequels ever. So I promptly, I served her divorce papers. I will no longer be your brother-in-law. I apologize.
Makes sense. It's totally acceptable. I don't know where she gets that from. That's awful.
She's a monster.
That's sickening almost. I'm almost about to throw up here.
You're gonna disown her.
Yeah, I might not ever talk to you guys. You might never ever see me again. Just maybe show me. I'll send you some pictures. Just show Maddie who her godfather is.
I was gonna say, I'm like, the whole Godfather thing could be a problem, but we'll figure it out. So,
yeah. I guess I'll come and visit, but Erica can't be around, I guess.
That's just probably the best.
God, what?
Yeah,
Mighty Ducks 2?
I know. We'll talk about that when we get to the whatever segment, but that's what we got planned for this week. If you're listening for the first time, thank you very much. You can find us in a variety of ways. YouTube.com/baseball and whatever. We're up to like almost 230 subscribers, which is awesome. You can tweet us at baseball and what, Instagram at baseball and whatever. Email the show, baseballwhatever@gmail.com. Listen to us on your podcast app of choice. And most importantly, text us or leave us a voicemail at 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-FART. I do know, Vinny, in the coming weeks, we have a voicemail coming from Pretzel Vince after he does his deep dive on 21 Pilots to figure out whether or not they're a good band or not. He and I talked today. Yes, I agree. They are. So that's it for the show today. But we are going to start off this episode 98. We're going to start off with famous 98s that played in Chicago sports. Do you got anybody, Vinny?
Yes, we have Chicago Bears. That is the only franchise with 98s.
Sounds good.
Do you have anybody, Justin?
No, I have no one. You're going to have to fill me
You
in.
don't have anybody. You can't think of anybody?
Are they recent?
No, but this is one of my favorite, Bears. Played with them from 2010 to 2013. He is one of the ultimate trivia question answers. Who knocked out Brett Favre?
Oh. Hold on. Let me think here.
Don't Google it.
Oh, Khalil. No, that's a running back.
Oh gosh, no!
I'm trying to Google it. I have no idea.
It is Corey Wooten.
Oh, Corey Wooten, friend of. He's on CHGO Bears now.
Yes, he is. Yep.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I like him just for. I mean, he was a decent player. He went to Northwestern. Local guy, made good. Played a short career in the NFL for 5 years. Four of them with Chicago. So. Yeah, he had a good year in 2012, 7 sacks. One of my favorite like kind of off the wall Bears players. Other than that, we have Belial Nichols.
Yes, I do know him.
Mitch Unrein.
Okay.
Jerry Green wore it in 2022 to 2023. I don't remember him at all. Brandon Dunn.
No.
Wow, I don't know half of these guys. Brian Robinson wore 98 back in 98 to 2003.
Okay.
And then before him was Carl Simpson, 93 to 97. That was a little bit before I got really into the Bears. But
okay.
Yeah, that's about it for 98s in Chicago sports history.
All right. Moving right along. We have no text, no tweets, no YouTube comments this week. Do you have anything that's relatively new for our What's New with You, or should we skip that? Because I got nothing. I've been sick all week, so
I've been too busy with work to have anything of
value.
anything interesting to go over, really.
That's all right with me. That means it's going to be a nice quick show and I can get to bed. All right. Let's move right along to baseball talk then.
Baseball.
Welcome back to Major League Baseball. Sort of.
Taking a look at Chicago's two favorite teams and other happenings around the MLB.
All right, the Cubs won today. They took the season opening series against the Padres, 2-1, I guess you could say. They won 5-2 today. Wesneski gets his second win. Boxberger gets his second save. Swanson gets his first home run in the series. Overall, Vinny, what's your take? What's your feeling? The Cubs, they didn't do so hot against the Dodgers. They lost 3 or 4 against LA last week, or the beginning of this week, I should say. They come back out though strong against the Padres. So I feel like they've kind of gotten back on track, and really, as long as they keep winning more series than losing, I mean, I know that sounds really reductive, but that's really all they need to do at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing good, solid baseball right now. They really need to figure out the bullpen issue. I wasn't really a fan of Michael Fulmer coming in to close.
Neither was I.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't a guy that really had a lot of closing. I mean, I'm trying to look up his stats here. He closed how many games in his career before the save opportunities? He had a total of 17 saves in his 7 years in the MLB. Brad Boxberger eclipsed that in one season. So I don't know why Fulmer was given the opportunity first.
Yeah.
He has not succeeded. They're finally moving him out of high leverage situations. Finally, that is good. He came in and pitched today. I think he pitched okay today. I didn't have the game. Right. Yeah, I don't think he gave up a run, or if he did, it was only one. But yeah, they got to figure out the bullpen and who's going to be closing, because Fulmer's not working right now, and maybe he's just a middle reliever. Again, he's only had 17 saves in his 7-year career. I mean, I guess he did start off as a starter, but he moved into the bullpen shortly after. So yeah, they got to figure that out. Hitting has been very timely. Nico Hoerner's an absolute stud right now. He's got 10 stolen bases last I checked, and he's 21 game on base streak right now. It's great to see. This is what I think they were hoping that he was going to be when they got him in the draft, but he's been hurt the first couple of seasons, so it's finally good to see that he's actually being able to stay healthy. I think we're on Matt Mervis watch coming up here this next couple weeks. They're on a road trip. Was it starting this weekend? They're on a road trip, or May 1st. They are going to be they're going to be in Miami. So that's supposedly maybe when they'll call him up. That's when they should call him up. He's hitting really well down in Iowa right now. 275, 402 on base percentage, slugging 551 for a 953 OPS. Playing first base. I don't know what Hosmer really brings to the table at this point, besides, I guess, veteran leadership. But it's not like they're lacking that with guys that have been in the league for 3 years tops. Like, the rest of the team's full of guys that have been in 3 years. I mean, they have Jan Gomes. They have Tucker Barnhart's been around. Ian Happ's been around. And so is
he's a veteran.
Dansby. Dansby Swanson, he's a World Series, he's won a World Series. That guy is going to have, he's a hard worker. It's not like, he's some young kid. They got Cody Bellinger's been in the league for as long as Chris Bryant has. So, I mean, they have veterans that are there that have won, that have been on winning teams that I think can provide that. At that point, I don't know what he would bring there that those guys can't fill in if he's, DFA'd. And he's making minimum league.
Minimum.
So there's really no point to keep him around. You have Trey Mancini, who's signed for 2 years, who can play first base, play outfield, DH. There's really no reason to have Hosmer on the roster. And if you want to keep him for veteran presence, Edwin Rios hasn't really played at all.
I don't know what they're doing.
Hasn't done much either.
No.
And they have 3 catchers. I think we've
Luis
talked
Torrens,
about this before. Yeah. Again, no need for him. I'd rather have Matt Mervis up DHing instead of Luis Torrens. They need to bring him up May 1st.
I would even be excited if they brought up Morel. I know he still has the strikeout rate issue, but he's got the most home runs in Iowa right now. He is, he's killing it down there as well. So I know Jed Hoyer was on the Score this week talking about how they are keeping a very close eye on both Morel and Mervis, and we'll see. I think his exact quote was something along the lines of, "We know that they will play an impact in our season at some point." Whether that's now, next month, after the trade deadline, I have no idea. But it's exciting. They're playing well for the most part. The starting pitching has been phenomenal. Smiley has done great. Justin Steele he's leading the team in ERA right now. He's got like a 1.19 ERA. Stroman is still doing really great. Hendricks, I know, had a start in Iowa today. Last I saw, he was supposed to throw about 30 pitches, and he had like 28 pitches in the first inning. So I don't know if he made it out of the first inning. I want to say he was like at a third or 2/3 of an inning when he was already at 30 pitches. So, there's no rush though. If he comes back, great. If he needs more time, the starting rotation is definitely a strength of this team right now. So that's exciting. I think Estrada could definitely be the closer of the future, just the way that guy can throw it so hard. I would love to see him be the closer down the road. But yeah, I think, like you said, Michael Fulmer can be a middle relief guy. He can be last year's Mark Leiter Jr. At this point. Whatever. But it's just been exciting. I will say, I noticed, and I know you don't have Marquee, but this kind of pissed me off just because, I don't know, I don't like ads on jerseys, but I know the Padres are one of the few teams in the MLB this year that has an ad on their shoulder. They have the Motorola logo. But did you know, depending on if the batter is righty or lefty, that is where they put the Motorola logo. So the uniforms are not they're not all the same anymore. So like if you're a righty, which I mean, this is semantics, but I'm like,
makes sense.
Man, is nothing sacred? Like you can't even have the logo be uniform anymore. Or no, I'm sorry, can't even, the jersey's not even uniform anymore. Yeah, the uniform is not uniform anymore. So I don't know. It just I found that silly, but at least they color coordinate, where I know in the NHL, some of the logos look awful because you'll have like
look at the Mets logo.
Oh yeah, the Mets
logo is atrocious. A big giant rectangle on the side. Like, make it a little like, and it's not like the writing's huge either on it. Like the writing's small and like in the center, and it's a huge white patch. Like, just make the patch smaller or make the writing bigger. It's just not. Yeah, it just looks terrible. It looks like something like some high schooler made up. It's just bad.
Well, speaking of bad, do you want to talk about the train wreck that is the White Sox organization?
Oh, God. Sure, why not?
All right. So this week was a smorgasbord, a plethora, if you will, of bad Sox news, takes, what have you. It started off the other day. I was driving home from work, and I think it was the Parkins and Spiegel show. They had on Steve Stone. And say what you will about Steve Stone, I thoroughly enjoy when he was on the Cubs broadcast and on the White Sox broadcast. I thoroughly enjoyed his color commentary because he clearly knows baseball. He clearly knows pitching. He can tell you what's coming up. I think he's phenomenal in that regard. But he was on the Score this week, and they were asking him about Lance Lynn. So if you're not familiar, obviously Lance Lynn was damn near Cy Young a couple of years ago with the White Sox. He had a great season 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. So this season, he is struggling. He has an ERA, last I checked, over 7.5, which is awful.
Not good.
For arguably, their second or third starter, if Cease is the ace now. So that's not good. And there's a rumor that he's struggling with the pitch clock, that he can't get ready because he needs to take his time and catch his breath, which I don't know if that's true. I have no idea. He has said it's not. He was on a podcast this week and said that's not the case. But Steve Stone, when asked about it, this was Steve Stone's exact quote. If the pitch clock is bothering his cardiovascularity, then maybe eating a couple salads would help. So White Sox Twitter was all ablaze about this. Do you think, I was talking to your dad about this today, that kind of quote makes me think there's something else going on? Because if you wanted to go that route, especially when he works for the organization as color commentary, I would say something like, if he's struggling with that, maybe, the trainers can kind of help him out with kind of working on his endurance and leaving it at that. But the fact that he kind of came out and was kind of saying, well, if he's got a problem, it was almost like eat a few salads, fatty. Like that's kind of the subtext that I was getting from it. I don't know. Does that rub you the wrong way? Or do you think it's just like, toughen up, who cares? Like, what was your take when you heard that?
Steve Stone's an ass. I've never been a fan of his. I don't get the whole the flowers that he gets from everybody, especially when he goes on the radio before this and says that baseball needs to get rid of the review because they don't need to get it 100% right.
That makes no sense
to me. Yes, exactly. I will die on that hill that Steve Stone is a condescending jerk. He just comes off as arrogant, and whenever he's talking, and especially if he doesn't agree with you, he's right and you're not. That interview was, for a professional, was bad. Pathetic. Yeah. You don't go and say that he needs to eat a couple of salads and then say, I don't know if the pitch clock is what I don't know if it's his cardiovascular. Then why say it?
You say that, right?
You have access. That's something that we would say as a bunch of boobs on a podcast.
A bunch of meatballs.
Just saying, go have a couple salads, Lance, if you can't handle it.
Yeah.
He's come out and said that it's not an issue. Right. You have the ability as a broadcaster to go to the locker room and say, hey, Lance, what's going on? Like, you got some issues. Is the pitch clock really bothering you? Like, what's going on? Talk to the trainers. Talk to the pitching coach. Talk to somebody in the organization instead of going on a national or, a syndicated radio station and saying that he needs to eat a couple salads if the pitch clock's bothering. But I don't know if the pitch clock's bothering him.
Right.
What the hell is that? I don't know. I've never been a big fan of him, and I rolled my eyes when I heard that, and classic Steve Stone.
It's perfect. It's perfect, like in relation to all the stuff that happened with why he's no longer on the Cubs broadcast, because I don't remember what the exact quotes were, but he said something that upset a few of the team members in 03, 04.
I think was it. Did he say something about Alou and
I think it was Alou.
Jesse Baker?
Yes, I think you're right. And it got back to them. And, I remember at one point they said that somebody came up to the booth during a game and was like, dude, enough. So, it's almost like he can't help himself, right? Like, and I'm sure this is not going to be the only time. So we'll see. Lance Lynn does not strike me as somebody that would just let something like this go. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has something to say down the road. When the time is right. But the other news that broke was Kenny Williams did an interview with the Sun-Times Sox beat writer Daryl Van Schouwen. I've heard of him. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but Kenny openly said, in quotes, I am not in a good place, and reasonable expectation for early trends are that this will change. He said, it's really time to put our best foot forward. No shit, Kenny. No, will there be changes? He said, that's ownership's call. I'm just talking about the reality of sports. Accountability around here is not a problem, which I literally bust out laughing when I read that.
Yeah.
And you made the excellent TikTok of the guy from I Think You Should Leave, which
I Should Leave.
I need to watch the rest of that show. He also said a change was made in manager. He said of Grifol, he is who we thought he would be. He's very steady, very positive, very encouraging, but in a real way. He'll stand up and tell you when he's dissatisfied with something and then turn the page back to positivity. I'm sorry. Accountability in the White Sox organization, in my mind, much like the Bulls organization with John Paxson, does not exist. If you buddy up to Jerry Reinsdorf, you are a made man, in for lack of a better term, and you're not going anywhere. So realistically, and I know I feel bad for Sox fans. I know they got upset. They were not happy. They've talked about I'm not going to the stadium anymore. To which Jerry Reinsdorf is just going to say, well, if you came to the games, I would pay more for the team, which we know that's not true. So I don't know. Yeah. It's just, it's not fair because this was their window and they have completely bottomed out. I want to say their record now is 7-20, 7-19, something like that. I'll pull it up right now.
I think they're over 10 games under.
Yes, so they are 7-19. They are 8 games back. They are only a game ahead of the Kansas City Royals. And then to add insult to injury this week, the Pittsburgh Pirates gave out their first $100 million contract to I can't think of
Brian Reynolds.
Thank you. So, that's an organization that doesn't like to pay money, and their owner is notoriously an awful owner when it comes to sports. The White Sox are now one of 3 teams in MLB, along with Kansas City and Oakland, to have never given out a $100 million contract.
And they're in a big market too.
That's just the market in the country. Like,
so pathetic.
What are we even doing? Like, we talk about wanting to relocate the Marlins or relocate the Diamondbacks, I guess not so much, but like, or the A's are being relocated as we speak. Like, at some point, is that like what the future of the White Sox is? Because they're run so poorly, or do you think that they will always forever be the Chicago White Sox? Like, I don't even know what their plan is. I don't know what their theory is on how they're going to make a successful team.
I mean, I don't think they'll move as long as Jerry's alive, but when he passes and someone else buys it, I would like to think they'll stay. I mean, it's a historic franchise. I mean, it goes back, over 100 years. So, I can't imagine that they would leave. But man, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to picture. I mean, this is as bad as like when it was last year for the Cubs when they would go on these long losing streaks. Yeah. Will they win again? Like, I mean, Dylan Cease was their win day pitcher. They didn't win today. Like, he got roughed up against the Rays. Granted, the Rays are really good, but still, like, he's your elite pitcher, and he struggled today. Like, man, it is not good to be a White Sox fan right now. And no one showed up today, really, at the stadium. Stadium was bare, so that's good to see. But yeah, it's bad. I mean, that Kenny Williams presser was almost as like laughable as the Bears one when Ted Phillips and I was gonna say Mike McCaskey, but George were out there and they're like, well, did we get the quarterback position right? No. Did we have a good season? No. Like, yes, yet everybody's going to be brought back. Like, it's just
races for everyone.
Exactly. It's just, man, whoever the PR firm, it must be as it is for the White Sox, because man, it's just like, really? You're going to have someone go out there and say that? Like, really? Like, do you not know this organization? Accountability? You hired Tony La Russa, who had a DUI, and he was still allowed to manage. Right. Yes, exactly. Accountability, right. There is none. You signed Mike Clevenger. He's found that there was some shady stuff going on, and you did nothing. Right. Nothing. There is no accountability in that organization. That is laughable and pathetic.
Well, and that's going back to Steve Stone. That was the other thing in that interview, was that they were kind of talking to him. They're like, all right, well, ownership didn't really bring anybody in besides Andrew Benintendi, but let's be honest, he is not someone you build around. He's a nice addition and a nice supporting piece. They brought him in. And then Mike Clevenger, like, what else did they do? And Steve Stone was kind of going, well, the players have to play. At some point, it's the players' responsibility. But, and I was happy. Spiegel and Parkins kind of pushed back on that. They're like, well, yes, the players have to play to their ability, but when you're getting guys that are not that great to begin with, that falls on the front office and ultimately the ownership group, right? And I'll be honest, like Kenny Williams, I feel like is still resting on the laurels of the 2005 season. That's going to be 20 years ago in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like that would be like the Cubs, like still rusting on 2016, and hell, that's a lot recent than more than '05. But I don't
Yep.
know. I feel bad for White Sox fans, and I feel like that's been the same thing I've said for like the last 6 months. But yeah, it sucks, and unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon.
I mean, honestly, I think you nailed it earlier when you said, like, as long as you buddy up with Jerry, like, you're a made man. I think that's what Kenny brought him a championship. He's really not in a like, supposedly, like, this is all Rick's, these are Rick's moves. Like, this is his job. So I think Kenny's just kind of sitting around. I'm sure he gives input and stuff like that, but I don't know what he's really doing from a, front office standpoint anymore, besides being Rick's boss. But it's supposed to be Rick's job and it's his team. So when are they going to get rid of Rick? Because this isn't working. Clearly, it's not working. This is his manager. Granted, it's only 25 games into Pedro Grifal's first managerial job. I saw an article saying that they got to get rid of him and Rick Hahn. I'm like, I mean, Rick Hahn, sure. But yeah, Pedro Grifal, I mean, it's kind of rough. I mean, it's his first year, 25 games in. He's given a load of crap to really to deal with. I mean, a lot of these guys, they haven't been developed to a certain extent, and it's probably going to take a lot of work to get them developed at this point of their career, since they've been up for 4 or 5 years. So yeah, I give him more time, but man, Kenny's got to be looking at something, unless, Kenny feels that if I get rid of Rick, then I'm on the hot seat now. But I mean, he should be on the hot seat already. But Jerry's not going to do anything.
No. If John Paxson got a promotion up from GM, I don't think Kenny Williams, and I would argue Rick Hahn's probably not going anywhere anytime soon either. But all right, that's all I got for baseball. Should we switch gears to football?
Sure.
All right.
Manures of the Midway, where the guys talk the pile of horse crap that is the Chicago Bears.
I mean, when you consider the other choices, manure is actually pretty refreshing.
Before we get to the draft, and I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers too, because some of the stuff he said today was complete bogus. Was just bogus in general. But if you can find it, apparently the Bears give away like the Brian Piccolo Award. And I don't know when this was, but they were playing this on the radio this morning on the rock station. George McCaskey wrote a song and sang it during the banquet. He is he is an awful singer. So if you can find it, Vinny, you will laugh your ass off. It's really bad.
All right.
It's really bad.
I can only imagine.
Apparently him and Matt Eberflus have like an 8-step handshake, which was also leaked this week from the same thing. It was,
oh boy, that's weird.
It was just the two of them going back and forth doing all this stuff, and then I whatever. But anyway, yeah, it was so stupid.
That's just creepy.
The NFL draft is tonight, still going on. I'll be honest, like I said in the intro, I don't pay I mean, I watch a lot of college football, but I couldn't tell you any of the main guys besides like the Heisman Trophy candidates. So, Vinny, tell me, why should I be excited about this offensive lineman that the Bears drafted tonight?
Well, he's an offensive lineman. He's protecting their most valuable asset, which they finally have one in Justin Fields. He's, from what I've been reading, he's a right tackle. Unfortunately, I didn't think they were going to go left tackle just because they had. I wanted to say Broderick Jones. That's the guy in the draft tonight. I can't think of their right tackle right off the top of my head, but Larry Borom is, or the left tackle off the top of my head. But Larry Borom was the right tackle. That was a Ryan Pace hire, so I'm not too surprised they're drafting that position instead of the left tackle, which is Braxton Jones, not Broderick Jones. So it would have been an easy jersey swap if they would have gotten Broderick Jones. Just give him Braxton Jones jersey. No, I think Darnell Wright. He's kind of an afterthought. Not one of the big names. Broderick Jones, Paris Johnson Jr., Peter Skronal. Oh God, I butchered that. What is it? The guy from Northwestern.
I know who you're talking about, but I have no idea.
Yep.
I don't know. I saw him get drafted right after the Bears pick.
Skoronski, I think, is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
Peter Skoronski.
Yes.
So he was kind of a lower level guy, not one that has been talked about a lot, but the film on him looks pretty good that I've seen. He's handled Will Anderson during who's one of the best edge rushers. He went up against him last year, and Will Anderson did not record a sack and had, I think, a half a tackle for a loss. So he pretty much kept him in check. He's a big guy. I guess he's got a pretty good, he's got good hand technique and length, functional strength and patience in the pass protection, which is going to be huge because they're terrible at pass protection. So he does have experience from both the left and right tackle, but they're saying right tackle. So, I think, there's just some minor things that I had read about him, that he's kind of tight in the lower half, and then I guess his bend and leverage. I guess just on where he's at, but I've heard that those are minor things from what I've been reading. That's kind of nitpicking at him. So it seems like a solid pick. We'll see. They passed on Jalen Carter, which a lot of people were absolutely furious about, because supposedly he's a can't-miss prospect in a lot of people's eyes, or has a lot of high-end talent. But a guy that has high-end talent playing 3 years of football only has 6 sacks and 18 tackles for loss. If you're comparing him to somebody like Aaron Donald, who people tend to compare him to, they play the same type of position. Aaron Donald, in his third season, he played 4 years in college. In his third year, had 18 and a half tackles for a loss and 5 sacks. So he almost eclipsed Jalen Carter's entire career in one season. So say what you will. I know Jalen Carter didn't show up during the playoffs. I know that was a big thing people were talking about, that he wasn't a big factor at all in Georgia's in their playoff run. And he's also, a lot of people were talking about how he takes a lot of snaps off. He's not, he was coming out of games, looking for a breather. Add that, just the playing on top of all the off-field stuff that has been going on with him. He went to the Eagles, who have, they're a really good team. They have a very good defense. They have a lot of good veteran presence there. I think that's an ideal situation for him to walk into. The Bears don't have that. They're a very young team. They don't have that veteran presence. They weren't a good team last year. The record showed it. That's why they had the top draft pick. So they're still developing, and adding that to the mix would not be good, I think, for both sides, for him and his development, and for the Bears. So I think it was a win-win for him and the Bears. They were able to get, I'm assuming, their top, unless they had Paris Johnson Jr.
Yes, correct. He went a few picks before, I believe, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
And unless he was their top pick, they got one of their top offensive linemen. So I'm okay with it. There was also rumors that I think the Tennessee Titans were looking at right as well. So that's why they only went back the one spot. They got a 2024 pick. It would have been nice if it was a 23 pick in this year's draft. But it's not. Well, okay, whatever. It's still better having that extra draft capital than not having it going into next year. So, and you move back a spot, still got the guy you wanted, and got a draft pick. Granted, I don't know why people were expecting a haul from the picks. I know people were upset that they only got that 2024 fourth round. You're moving back one spot. I don't know. Yeah, I unless there was some bidding war going on, which it doesn't appear to be. It's not going to be a big draft haul. So whatever. Yeah. I'm happy with it. It's a solid pick. They're protecting Justin Fields. We'll see what they do with the rest of the draft, but I'm glad for it. The guy's going to start day one, barring any injury. So yeah, let's go.
There you go. You've heard it here first from our draft expert. Vinny says it's a solid pick. All right, real quick before we move on, I was listening to the radio this morning when I was driving into work, and obviously the Aaron Rodgers trade went down recently to the Jets, which I don't understand, but whatever. But he had his introductory press conference today, and he kind of broke down what happened. And this is what he said in the press conference in terms of Packers trying to contact him to kind of figure out what was going on, because we had heard that they could not get a hold of him for a while. Aaron Rodgers is quoted as saying, "People who know me know that I'm very fortunate to live in a beautiful house. The only downside is I have very limited cell service. If you want to get a hold of me, I need to see your face. You have to FaceTime me." What does that even mean? What? So, okay, couple things wrong. And this is the tech guy who does this kind of stuff for a living now, but there's pictures of his house in this article from the USA Today. It's gigantic. It looks like it's out in the hills, wherever the hell he lives. I don't know, but you could get a mesh system, so your Wi-Fi is great. You could get Wi-Fi extenders.
Mm-hmm.
Your phone Wi-Fi calling is pretty much universal among all the cell phone carriers, I believe now.
He's still rocking the original Apple iPhone. So
that's got to be it. Because then I'm thinking, okay, if FaceTime, you can do FaceTime on your cell signal, but it's usually better to do it on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So, like, it's just Aaron Rodgers being Aaron Rodgers, which at this point in time is just him being a raging a-hole, an entitled, self-delusional guy. I don't know what else to say, but I'm so glad we don't have to listen to him. I think I am going to thoroughly enjoy the Jets playing some of the teams in that division now, in hopefully getting rocked. He also had some quote that Zach Wilson said he was going to make his life living hell in training camp. And then Aaron Rodgers said, well, I'm going to make his life a living heaven outside of the football field, which I don't even know what that means. It's kind of creepy.
Are they going to start? Are they like what? I
don't know.
Are they going to move in together? Are they? He's going to? I don't know.
I don't understand.
It's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And
they're going to be best friends by the end of the season.
The only thing I can say is if Jordan Love's end up becoming like the second coming of Christ and becoming the next quarterback for the Packers just to completely own the Bears, I'm going to be so sad. So I hope they can't.
Well, the recipe's there. I mean, they did that to Favre.
Yeah, they did.
They traded him to the Jets, and then what? In year two, then Rodgers is going to go to the Vikings, and in about 5 years, the Green Bay Packers will win another Super Bowl. So get your futures in now for Green Bay winning the 2028 Super Bowl.
How many years do we have to put down until Aaron Rodgers starts sending dick pics to people unsolicited, like Favre? Is that like 7 or 8? I don't remember. And then
we'll see.
I was going to say he's going to have to give he's going to have to solicit university officials to build his daughter a volleyball stadium and take it.
Well, he's not going to have a family, so I don't think we need to worry about that.
Not yet.
Yeah, and that was another joke that. Yeah, at least Aaron Rodgers doesn't have to have that awkward conversation with Zach Wilson when Zach Wilson bangs his mom because Aaron Rodgers doesn't talk to his mom. No, but yeah, I mean. Say what you will about Aaron Rodgers, he's never, had any off the field outside of being kind of a really weirdo. Space cadet weirdo. Yeah. He's never really had too much of off the field like troubles. And even when he was partnered up with Ryan Braun and Ryan Braun was found guilty of cheating, he split ways with him. Like he's got some sort of, some morals where Brett Favre doesn't appear to have any morals. So yeah. So he's a weirdo, says a lot of weird things, does some weird things, but weird. We're all a little weird, so I think you can move past it.
All right. Well, move past it we shall by moving straight on to the whatever segment.
Now it's time for Whatever.
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 Whatever. Whatever you want.
Whatever I want.
Whatever, dude. Irrelevant.
Whatever, dude.
All right, Vinny, take it away.
Welcome to Whatever, Baseball and Whatever. This week we are discussing, right? We're not ranking.
We can do either. I have more than 5, so it's at your call. We can discuss or rank, your choice.
We can just discuss bad sequels because,
right.
yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, my number 1 was locked in, not locked and loaded. And yeah, we can just discuss them though. This week we are discussing bad sequel movies. There are a ton of them out there. I know when I was going through my list, I was looking up some, and when I was coming up, I ranked them, but as I was doing it, I don't know how you did it, but I was looking at like the original film. How good was the original, and like how bad was the good, like the first film was compared to how bad the second one was. That gap there made it like rise up in the ranking. And I know my number 1 was the Star Wars sequel trilogy, because it's kind of cheating because I'm taking the whole trilogy versus the original trilogy.
It's okay.
But because, well, I mean, you have to look at it as one. Like, you can't, like, you could break down each one and talk about how bad, like, from Force Awakens onward, but if you look at the whole trilogy altogether, that was such a gigantic mess of a film. If you look at all 3 compared to the original trilogy, like, you clearly see the different visions that the directors had, like from Force Awakens to the Last Jedi. And then the Rise of Skywalker tries to erase what was done during The Last Jedi in the first 10 minutes. And, okay, now we're going to kind of continue. And it's not even like it was like they tried to, like, bring in stuff from The Force Awakens. Like, it was messy and it was terrible. Like, absolutely atrocious for a sequel.
Yeah. I had Last Jedi on mine. That movie made me angry. And Vinny, I don't get angry very often. But the fact that it completely undid everything that was somewhat decent in Force Awakens, you had this New Republic government, which was completely up and running. And then in Last Jedi, it's like, they're down to like 9 ships and they're on the run. I'm like, well, wait a minute, what the hell happened to the entire government? Like, we're a multi-planet government. What happened? What? You know? So, and then like you said, Rise of Skywalker? Is that it?
Yeah, no. Rise of Skywalker.
That one, the first time I saw it, I'm like, you know what? This isn't so bad. And I remember telling you and Greg, and then you guys went and saw it, and you're like, you need to watch that movie again because it is garbage. And then I watched it again, and I'm like, yes, it is. So.
Well, it was funny because you both saw it in theater, and that was like right around COVID, right?
I think
was that like right then? And I don't
remember, to be honest. I tried to put that movie out of my mind.
To forget that. But I just remember, you know what? It wasn't. God, I'm trying to remember when No, we were still at the old house when COVID started. So, but that's when I watched it, was at the old house. And I just remember Greg had seen it, you had seen it. You talked about how good it was, and Greg was just like, I don't think you're right, Justin. Yeah, don't listen to him was the nice way. And then I remember watching him like, Justin, like 10 minutes in, I'm like, what the hell is going on with this? Justin, how did you think this was good? And it just got worse from there. It was so bad. And yeah, there were good things in, the Force Awakens that they could have built off of.
Yes,
The Last Jedi, like, erased it because didn't they kill up Captain Phasma too, like in like a pathetic way?
Yes,
was
I think you're right.
Captain Phasma's death
they killed off Snoke
too,
which you had this weird villain that no one knew his backstory, and then he was just dead. I'm like, well, wait, who the hell was he? What?
Yeah, Kylo Ren kills him. You're like, oh, Kylo Ren's good now, and then Kylo Ren's bad again. Like, what the hell is going on? And then they had like the weird, the first movie they had Ray and Finn that kind of had like a will they won't they type of like relationship, which was funny because it was kind of comical.
Yes.
The way they were doing it, it was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I hope they end up getting together. That's pretty cool. Yeah. And then like you throw Rose in there, and it's like, what are those two doing? Like, are they like she trying to shack up with him? And then they're on the they're in like the Las Vegas of planets.
Yes.
And they're like, oh. Yes, these poor animals, as there's like slave children chained up, but let's free let's free the animal, the racehorses. Let's free those animals instead of the kids. It just was they're
gonna make the kids run
weird.
Now. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thank God for Rogue One. That's all I can say is that's what got everything back on track for me. But yes, I had Last Jedi on my list too. Another one I had on my list was Independence Day Resurgence. Did you see Independence Day Resurgence?
I did. And it was one where I was like, yeah, I could probably put that. I need to watch it again. The first one was good, but you watch the first one, and I guess it was kind of like, it doesn't live up to like, if you watch it again today, it's like, ooh, that's like, the graphics and stuff were good back then. Yeah. Today it's not good. The story was interesting. The story was cool, but it is like kind of like there's a lot of one-liners in there.
Yeah.
And it's just and I love the original, but like, and it's like they just took that and just redid it in the second
just
one.
Like
but again, like What were people expecting though? Like out of that second one, like I don't remember it being that bad, but I know like when I was looking at like bad sequel movies, it kept popping up. I'm like, I don't remember it being that bad.
It killed. It was going to be a trilogy. They had a third one in pre-production. That second one bombed so bad it killed the third movie. They canceled it, but they brought back all the original cast besides Will Smith, who probably saw the writing on the wall. And I mean, they killed Will Smith's character off in a 3-minute bridge scene that you could watch on YouTube as to why he wasn't in it. And then it was pretty much just Independence Day 1 all over again, but they were using all the alien technology. And then there was this white ball that was going to take them to where the aliens planet is, and they were going to bring the fight to them, and that's how the sequel ends. And it was just so.
Oh, is that how it?
That how it ends?
Yeah, I guess
the third movie was them going to fight on the alien planet, and that will never be made now because they shut everything down. So yeah, I thought it was cool. They got the weird scientist guy to literally come back in that movie. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I don't think he's been in anything since those movies, but
no.
Yeah, it was not good. It was really not good.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's got Jeff Goldblum in it, and he's always got some great. He had great lines in the first one. He had good lines in the second one, from what I remember.
Judd Hirsch was still in it. I mean, like, I love Judd Hirsch.
Yeah.
So Bill Pullman, I don't know what he's been up to, but he was in it. So yeah, so it had potential, but it was not good. What else you got? What about you?
Hangover 2. That was so
I have
bad.
that on my list too. I guess.
I just for how they did not. It was a complete cash grab. I mean, it was literally like, oh, we'll take Hangover 1 and just put it in. Where were they? Bangkok. They were out in Bangkok for that one, and they just pretty much just did that in Bangkok, and it was just okay. Like that, they didn't need to make it. The first one was so great. Yes. It was completely epic. And yeah, they just completely botched it. The third one was all right. It was better than the second one, but man, the second one was so bad. And it really, like, you could watch the first one and then the third one and really not miss too much with it.
I remember us going to see the second one and being excited, and I'm like, oh, that was not very good at all. And then for whatever reason, we decided to go see the third one, I think in theaters. And the third one was actually, like you said, it wasn't as good as the first, but it was serviceable. And I would definitely watch it again if it was on TV. But yeah, that second one did not need to be made. They
had Mike Tyson singing in it.
Yeah. It offered nothing of value whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't good. Another going back to the 90s and Will Smith, another sequel that I absolutely hated was Men in Black 2. Did you ever see Men in Black 2?
Yeah, was
Johnny
that
Knoxville?
yes.
Isn't that one?
Yep. Yeah. That
it
wasn't
good.
again, yeah, they didn't need to do that one.
Now the
I
third
agree
one,
with you.
the third one wasn't bad where it was actually more of a time travel movie. And I think
Is that with Chris Hemsworth?
No, that was the fourth one. I did not see that one.
Okay.
This one still had Will Smith,
and
it had, I believe it was Josh Brolin playing a young version of Tommy Lee Jones. That one was okay. The second one though was awful. Johnny Knoxville didn't really bring much to the table there, but yeah, I don't know. It's a shame because I feel like lately all we get is sequels and remakes, and you're not really getting a lot of creative new ideas. It's a bummer. It's an absolute bummer.
Yeah.
So, but
that's a good pick. I remember when that came out, that was pretty hyped up. And again, I think that was one they probably should not have made. They could have just left that one alone. That's a good one. I think I thought of that one, but I don't think I liked it when it first came out, but I was still a kid. Like, it's like, oh, Will Smith, Men in Black, like, this is great. But I haven't watched it, and nor do I really want to. Yeah. Another one I had on my list was Boondock Saints 2.
Oh, and really?
Okay. I like that, but I like it. But I understand that it's bad. Like, it's one of those, like, I like it, but I know it's not good. It's not even close to the first one. It's just, they tried to replace Rocco in it, and the guy they replaced it with he wasn't good.
No.
It wasn't good. For as epic as that first one was, I didn't really hit the mark, although they left it open for a third one. I don't know if they're going to make it with how bad the second one was.
The Boondock Saints 3 is officially in the works and began filming in May of 2022.
All right.
I don't know.
So
I would think
last
it's gotta
year?
Be close. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it wraps up. I mean, it wasn't as bad as like The Hangover 2, but it just, I liked it, but I understand a lot of people didn't like it, and I get that it's not up to par as what the first movie was, but that first movie was iconic. I mean, it's kind of hard to be as good as that one was.
I just remember seeing that came out when I got to high school, but then in high school, like, that was the movie everybody talked about, and I don't know if it was like a Southside Irish, Southside Chicago thing or what, but holy cow. Yeah, I really enjoyed the first movie. It was really good. The second one, I can honestly say I know I saw it. I think I saw it with your sister because I think we were dating, but I don't remember a single thing. I couldn't tell you one thing that happened in that movie. So that's probably just as damning as that it was that forgettable, right? Compared to the first one that had some really great scenes and dialogue and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
I have. Go ahead. What were you?
I was going to ask you if you had any other ones.
I have three more, and then there's a couple of comments in here we need to talk about, especially one from Brian about Caddyshack 2. But Dumb and Dumber 2, which was the sequel with Jim Carrey that came out probably like 10 years ago. I was really excited for that because I liked Dumb and Dumber, which was the prequel. I mean, it was stupid, but I enjoyed it in high school. That sequel with Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Bridges? Is it Jeff Bridges?
Daniels?
Jeff Daniels, thank you. Jeff Daniels, yes.
You'll get there. Third time's a charm.
Movie. Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey was just really disappointing. Like, it didn't, you could tell they were trying to recapture what they had in the original, but it was just too much time had gone by. Like, I'm sorry, it doesn't work. So now that original movie, I will literally, anytime that movie's on, if it's on TV and I have nothing going on, which isn't very often anymore, I would literally just sit there and watch that movie. I love that movie with a passion. I can quote that entire movie, which is good.
It's that movie's so quotable. But I know, when the second one came out, I didn't really have. I mean, I was like, ooh, like, all right, they're doing another Dumb and Dumber 2. Like, they're doing another Dumb and Dumber. They got, Jim Carrey, Jeff Daniels. All right, this is going to be awesome. And then, like, I saw, like, the, like, clip. I'm like, this isn't going to be good. And I haven't, I don't think I've seen maybe more than a half hour of that movie. Yeah, it didn't look good. But I'm with you. I like the prequel. It's really dumb. But I still liked it. But yeah, Dumb and Dumber 2, I think, I didn't want to watch it. I'm glad that you were able to put it on your list. I didn't put it on my list because I didn't watch it. That was another thing. I need to actually see the movie in order to rank it. I just can't go by what people said.
The prequel, with those I can't remember the actors' names. I know they've been in a couple things, but there's a scene with Bob Saget, and he thinks someone crapped on his car. I
love that. It was in the bath. No, it's in the bathroom. He's got a melted chocolate bar that he takes out and gets it all over his hand and spreads it all over the bathroom. And then, I
mean, it's so juvenile, but I remember
shit everywhere.
Just screaming for like 2 minutes.
Everywhere. I love it.
Rest in peace, Bob Saget.
Oh man, great.
The only other two I had was Speed 2 Cruise Control, which was just, as a kid, I thought that was a good movie, but in retrospect, that movie's horrible. I mean, it's a boat.
Never saw it.
Slow down. Willem Dafoe is the bad guy who likes leeches, and he puts leeches all over his body. It was really strange.
That's weird.
Yeah, he played a good villain. I don't remember much about it besides, in retrospect, it not being very good, and then them just not being able to slow the boat down, but they slow it down by crashing it into land, and it's literally just driving through dock after dock, and then finally it slows down, but it doesn't blow up. And then the last one, and this is a really big topic of debate in this household, is Mighty Ducks 3. I do not like that movie at all. I think it's dumb. I don't like that there's a different coach. I don't like that they're at high school, and every time they're at the rink and practice, it looks like someone turned a fog machine on. Like, that's not, I don't understand that. I don't like that Gordon Bombay is relegated to like 5 minutes at the end of the movie. I get it. He didn't want to do it anymore. I don't know. I don't like that movie. I think it's a shitty movie. The first two are so good. They're so good. And then that one is just a way lower bar, in my opinion.
I mean, it's better than the Mighty Ducks series, right?
Oh, well, yeah. Vinny, you and I could do our own, radio play for Mighty Ducks, and it would still be better than that series. And we don't have Disney money, so I think, that's all.
It's just, the third one's good. There's some good scenes in it. When Porter comes back, that's always fun. When they prank the varsity team with the ants, that's always good. Or they get pranked by the varsity team when they take them out and they have to like wash dishes and clean up at the restaurant to pay off the bill. There's some stuff to like about it. Yeah, I'm not having Gordon Bombay there, but again, could you really have Gordon Bombay as their high school coach? Like,
no,
probably not. Work. Like, it just wouldn't work. It's okay for what it was. Again, for how great the first two movies were. The third one's definitely a step down. But I didn't have it on my list. I don't even think of that as a bad sequel though, just because I think it's unfair to kind of put it. I mean, I know it's part of the trilogy, but to put it up against the other two, well, it's a trilogy, 3 movies.
Mighty Duck trilogy. I got the box set over there. So.
Yep. So I mean, it's hard to put them up against those first 2 movies just because they were so good, and it's not like they really had like a continuing story. Like they had to come up with something new. It's not like, like Back to the Future 3, literally 2 to 3 is right in this, like in the movie, and they pretty much released it. Like the story all went together. Whereas like this, like the story, none of the stories really go together. It's the same group of kids, but like they're still not in Pee-wee's in the second movie. They moved on to that to be in the Junior Goodwill games, and then after that they have to move on to something else. It's not like, the second season of the Junior Goodwill games. Like, nope, they got to move on from that. So I think for what the franchise was, like, it's still good, especially compared to other like trilogy type franchises. Like that was good. And especially when it was ascending. Yeah, there's going to be a drop off at some point. At least it wasn't in the second one. Like it wasn't like The Hangover 2. Like it was a third one where it kind of ran its course and they kind of just wanted to put a bow on it all.
I think the
they
thing
did. So
as a kid frustrated me. It was like, oh my gosh, they are junior Goodwill Game champions. They've beaten the best in the entire world, and now they're having a hard time beating the varsity team in their JV.
They were also playing kids their same age.
Yes,
now they're playing. Although they made Iceland look like a bunch of NHL
30-year-olds. Yeah,
right. They all look like they
older
could
than
play
me.
in the NHL.
Yeah.
Whereas, but that again, they were playing kids their same age. Then they move on, and then they're playing kids older than them. So of course they're going to struggle. So in reality, it actually makes perfect sense. Instead of
that way, I'm sold.
Yeah.
There you go. Do you have any others or no?
I have two more.
All right,
Cars 2. I don't know if you are familiar with the Cars franchise.
I've heard that's notoriously bad.
That is atrocious. The first movie was all right, classic Disney Pixar movie. It's not one of their best ones, but it's good. My son was really into that movie. Cars 2 could have been really good if it was its own thing and wasn't part of like the actual Cars like first the first movie cast. Like they had different cars because it was like a spy thriller, which was really cool, but then it featured Mater and it's just like bumbling bumpkin type character. And hey, that was actually pretty good.
Yes, I just
best impression yet.
That's what's that guy's name? I don't even know what his name is.
Larry the Cable Guy.
I just need to be sick to do my Larry. See, now I'm forcing it.
Okay, don't just stop when you're ahead. But it featured him. It's kind of cool, but for what the movies were, like 1 and 3 are based on racing, which is really, it's interesting. And, the first one, I guess not so much. It's more about Lightning McQueen, understanding he's not some hot shot and he needs people and friends and stuff like that. But the last one focuses on racing, which is kind of cool. The middle, Cars 2 was, again, it was just bad. Featuring Mater as a spy, it just didn't really work. But maybe there's people out there that liked it. My son liked watching it. I didn't like it. It was awful. I like the third one, but I don't. The second one I could never see again, and I'll be perfectly fine with that. And then the last on my list was Caddyshack 2.
Oh yes, Brian
I know
we all about that.
We've talked about that. I think a little bit on the show. I remember watching it with Brian Waters, and we were probably 10 to 13 years old, and we stopped it. We literally, two kids watching a movie, had to turn it off. Like we turned it off. It was that bad, and it was I vaguely remember some things like. It just was hokey compared to what the first one was. Like they tried to like do some of the same stuff, but it was like it just came off as like hokey. Like the first one was like kind of original. The second one just like they try to tap into some of the same jokes in the beginning, and it didn't land for me. Although I'm told on Twitter that it actually is a really good movie. So I'm going to have to venture and watch that again and subject myself to that and see if it is good.
Was that person like on illicit drugs or were they on?
No, they're actually there are two people on White Sox Twitter that were, one was telling, he always says that that it's better than the first one, which is not correct. And I think he was a part of the White Sox 108 tourney, and he actually had a Caddyshack 2 shirt on that he wore when he was doing videos and stuff promoting himself, trying to win the tournament. So, yes, I'm going to actually venture and try to rewatch Caddyshack 2, where if I can ever find it streaming. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not going to pay a single dime to watch that because I have a feeling it's going to be bad. But I'm going to venture and rewatch that because I've been told that I need to. Or I haven't been told to, but I've been told that it's good.
Vinny, if you have HBO Max, you can stream it on HBO Max right now.
I don't have HBO Max, so darn.
And as somebody who I do not like the first Caddyshack, I just don't. I don't get. I don't get the appeal. I don't know, but yeah. I mean, it's fine. I like Rodney Dangerfield, I guess. I don't know.
What? I guess.
No. I don't get the appeal. I don't know.
What?
I'm not.
Seriously?
I've never been a big golfer, so like, you want to watch a golf movie?
But
I'm gonna put on Happy Gilmore. I'm not putting on Caddyshack.
It's just as good. It's better than Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
you only like Happy Gilmore because of the hockey aspect of it.
Well, and because it's Adam Sandler. But yeah, I don't know. I just never. I've seen Caddyshack. It's fine. I don't think it's as good as everyone says it is. But it's fine.
Whoa. Whoa. It is one of the best sports movies ever made.
Oh.
I mean...
I don't know about that.
Comedy sports movies. How about that?
I still don't know about that. But anyway...
Come on.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a fine movie.
What do you mean it's not what people make it out...
I just think like
that's an iconic movie.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's like... People... The mentality is it's iconic. I don't think it's iconic, I guess would be the way to put it. So, all right,
what
let's
am I even
move
doing
on.
Here?
I don't even know. Jennifer writes in, I have not seen either one of these movies. I still know What You Did Last Summer and Cheaper by the Dozen 2. I've seen Cheaper by the Dozen 1 with Steve Martin. I don't
Cheaper by the Dozen 2 is bad. They go to like a summer house and it's... Yeah,
is it still
bad.
the same cast? Is it the same cast?
Yeah. Yeah,
really?
It is. Yeah.
And I never saw
it's
I Know
bad.
What You Did Last Summer, so I couldn't tell you anything about those two movies either.
The second one, yeah. The first one was good. I don't remember who the villain was, the murderer was, and I still know. But I think they go to some tropical resort during a hurricane or something like that, and it wasn't good. The first one was a lot better.
The only thing I found funny about those movies, was the fact that the sequel, the best title they could come up with was "I Still Know What You Did."
Yeah,
like there was no somebody somewhere didn't be like, "Hey, I think we can workshop this a little bit better." But anyway, I'm curious, Vinny, because your cousin Melissa, and I guess technically she's my cousin through marriage. She loves Ghostbusters 2. I think Ghostbusters 2 is not that good. Where do you stand on Ghostbusters 2?
Wait, she said it's good? Or she's got it on her list as bad?
Yes, I put it in here just to piss her off because all she does is tell me that Ghostbusters 2 is good. So I put it down that she said it was bad. So
okay. Yes, Ghostbusters 2 is great. I actually like that one. I'm sorry, Justin, that you feel that way, that you don't like it. But again, this is coming from somebody that doesn't like Caddyshack and doesn't think it should be hyped up. So your opinion and the merit that you carry is slowly dropping. Yeah, it's not good, Justin, right now. So your opinion carries zero weight in this when you say Caddyshack isn't as good as people make it out to be. And then Ghostbusters 2 is a good, solid film. The first one is iconic. It was great. Yeah, I think the follow-up on it wasn't that big of a drop-off. I think it was what was so bad about it.
It's pink slime that makes you mad at each other. Like, that just seems so dumb. I don't know. I don't know. I always found that
it doesn't make you mad. It feeds off of negative energy.
Yes. And in turn, when you're covered in it, you show off that mad energy.
You get angry.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're absorbing it. Like what's so hard to?
I mean, and then you got the walking Statue of Liberty. Like, come on, really? Come on.
That was cool.
Yeah, I guess. We already took Erica to task for Mighty Ducks 2. Mighty Ducks 2 is my favorite of the three, but I would argue Mighty Ducks 1 is probably the best of the three. If that makes sense. My personal favorite, but the best quality movie, if we're going to go down that road, would be the first one. So I don't know what she's talking about. Yeah.
I don't think anybody would ever say Mighty Ducks 2 was a bad sequel. No. I would like to hear her reasonings on why it's bad.
There we go. Okay, so here we go. Erica, when you listen, leave us a voicemail on the voicemail.
Write in.
Or write in. Tell us why.
Yep.
Karen, one of my former coworkers, she said Phantom Menace and really episodes 1 through 3 in general, anything with Jar Jar.
I would agree, but it's a prequel. We're talking sequels here.
All right. Well, okay. Let's think. Okay, if we rephrase it as the Phantom Menace is the start of that trilogy, and then Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, which one do you think is I think Attack of the Clones is the worst of the three.
Yes. Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith,
I would say like so.
Revenge of the Sith has some redeemable plot points in it.
Yep.
As a kid,
it's got good, a lot of good action too in it.
Yeah. As a kid, I loved Phantom Menace. I don't think that holds up either outside of the pod racing.
Yeah.
And the battle with Darth Maul. But yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Another one.
It's tough.
It is. And I agree. Brenda wrote in and said Grease 2. To be honest, as somebody who hates Grease 1, I have never seen Grease 2, so I couldn't tell you what Grease 2 is about.
Yep. I'll take your word for it, Brenda. I'll stay clear of it.
Yes. Can we just say one of the stupidest endings of a movie is Grease, where the car literally starts flying
away. Well,
yeah.
Supposedly, what's her name? Sandy's dead. She dies at the beach, and this is just like her. I guess before her trip to heaven is this whole high school scene. So.
Now I kind of want to watch it again. Sean wrote it and said Super Troopers 2. Did you see Super Troopers 2?
I didn't. I wanted to, but I don't.
Yeah.
It came out at a weird time.
I loved that first one. I still love that first one. The second one, I remember we went to go see it in theaters, and it started, and I'm like, all right, then it's coming. Like, I know it's gonna pick up. It's gonna pick up. The next scene is gonna pick up. It's gonna get going. It's gonna start moving, and it just never caught steam the entire movie. It was fine, but I left it going, be like, well, I would much rather just have gone and watched Super Troopers 1 again.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
It was. Cheryl and Kristen both said Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I would agree. That is the first Indiana Jones. I know we've talked about this. That's the first one I've ever seen. That is not nearly as good as the original.
Mind it.
It's fine. But I don't think it holds a candle to the first three. Shia LaBeouf ruins that for me. But
why?
I don't like him. I don't know. It's a
I mean, he's another weird. I guess I don't know everything, but he's like another like Aaron Rodgers type of weirdo, right?
Yeah.
Like he didn't. Yeah. Did he do anything? Like I honestly don't know if he did or not. I just thought he got weird. Like
apparently he assaulted someone.
Oh, there you go.
During a filming of a movie. I don't know. He's a strange cat, but
yeah.
I am not getting my hopes up for this new Indiana Jones that's coming out.
God, Harrison Ford is so old.
Yeah, and I know they're doing I don't think they did a lot of de-aging because he said he didn't want to do that, so it was more of just a continuation of the story, and I think he's meeting up with his supposed granddaughter in this movie or something. I don't know. But they said this is it. I mean, there is no more after this, and no one is taking over the character after this. So I'll be curious if they stay true to that word. I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, he's in the 1923 TV show, which is like a Yellowstone prequel. And gosh, he's old, and like he looks old in that, and he's supposed to be old, but man, I can't imagine him being Indiana Jones running around with a whip and pistol and doing stuff. I think it's gonna be bad. But I don't know. I didn't mind Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull like a lot of people did. I know Star Wars made fun of them. Or not Star Wars. South Park made fun of them pretty heavily. But I don't know. I didn't mind it, but it was entertaining. But I don't know. I guess Indiana Jones, in the Last Crusade, didn't that win an Oscar or something like that?
I believe it did. I think.
Okay, so I guess it was a feat of film, the original trilogies, but again, I take those as being like an action thriller type movies. There's nothing really artsy about them, I guess. But no, whatever.
It blows my mind. I looked up. Do you know how old he is? Do you want to take a guess?
Harrison Ford?
Yes.
75?
He is 80.
Holy cow.
Which is crazy to think, like, when he was doing The Fugitive and the Jack Ryan movies, like, he was already in his 50s. And in Air Force One, Get Off My Plane. Great movie. All right, last two. Zach writes in, Airplane 2, I tried watching it not too long ago, and it is just plain bad. None of the original writers or producers were a part of it. I have never seen the original Airplane. Have you seen Airplane?
I have not. I've seen all like the gifs and stuff of it, but have not seen the movie.
Yes, I feel like I need to cross that off my backlog. Your mom wrote in and said, It Chapter 2, Jaws 2, Little Fockers, and Mary Poppins Returns. That little Fockers movie was not good. It was really bad.
No, it wasn't.
And I would even say Meet the Fockers wasn't very good either. I don't remember that being very good either. The first one's great. I love the first one.
I was thinking that's what I thought was they came out with a third film for the Meet the Parents. That's a trilogy.
Yes.
I don't even remember Little Fockers. I remember Meet the Fockers, and that one wasn't good.
Yes, because that was when you met Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand were his parents. And then this one is them it's them with kids, and then Robert De Niro's character thinks that Ben Stiller's character is cheating on his wife. So that's the whole thing. And, having to prove that he's innocent. It was not good. It was not good. Yeah.
Yikes.
And I don't know anything about Mary Poppins or Mary Poppins Returned. I've only seen parts of Jaws, so I couldn't tell you. I know Jaws 2 kept coming up in the list I was looking at.
Yep.
And I don't know anything about it because I'm too much of a
well, I mean, they killed Jaws in the first one, so how can they bring it back? It's just it's a different shark. I don't know why they call it Jaws. They should call it something else like Steve or Frank, something else.
Frank the shark.
Chapter 2. Yeah. Chapter 2, she's talking about the new one that came out. That was actually really good. Even the old one was good. I know she didn't like it because Pennywise is not actually a clown. He's not a clown villain. He's like an alien. Yes, and that's what the book is. So I don't know. I don't know what you're expecting out of it. It was solid.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Read a book, Lynn. Jeez. Maybe you'll appreciate the second movie if you actually read the book. Yeah, so that's all I have to say about that.
All right. Well, man, the other week you took your dad to task. Now you're taking your mom to task. You're going to be the outcast.
Yeah, the pariah of the family.
I got nothing else. You got anything else you'd like to add? Anything we missed?
I did have one thing, and I don't have it up now, but going into today, do you know how many saves? We talked about Michael Fulmer and his career saves was 17 before coming to the Cubs. Do you know what Brad Boxberger's career save total was before he got his save today?
I'm going to say 50.
83.
Ooh, very nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Save the best for last. I like it, Vinny.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are probably going to do one of two things. We might take a couple weeks off. Vinny's got major tax stuff still going on, so we might take a couple weeks off. Or if I can find some co-hosts, maybe we'll do a co-host show or something like that. But that is it. Feel free to write in. Tell us your least favorite sequels or sequels you enjoyed, or tell me why Caddyshack is good. Sell me on Caddyshack. Because Vinny couldn't do it.
What is, whoa, okay, what don't you like about Caddyshack?
Oh, nothing. I don't know. I've never saw that.
It's like
TV
that.
And thought,
I want to say that might.
Watch this.
Is that the first did that just, and I don't know my 80s movie trivia that well, but was that the very first richers versus the poor kids, that model that was like almost every teen movie in the 80s? Like, I mean, was that the first one?
It came out in
1980.
So it very well could have, yeah.
That set the entire like genre of films for the entire 80s. So Justin, right there, for a guy that likes 80s movies,
true.
There you go, right there. That was the movie that started it all, you could say. I don't know what you're expecting out of it. It's hilarious. Like, Rodney Dangerfield is perfect in it.
I do like him in it.
God, I can't.
Bill Murray.
I can't think of. Bill Murray's great. I can't think of Judge Smails. Oh God, what was his name? I can't think of it. But he
Ted Knight, is that his name?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, he was a perfect villain in that. Come on. I think you just need to go golfing more. I mean, that movie is entirely quotable when you're on the golf course.
The one time I've gone golfing, you were there. Do you remember how that went for me?
Yes.
It didn't go well.
It did not go well. No, but I mean, that movie is so quotable. To say that it's not good. Well, that's good. I mean, do that whenever I'm I do like practicing golf swings.
Pool pond.
The gambling is illegal at Bushwood, and I never slice. And then he slices. Oh, so you owe me. And then he storms off, and then you see him. He's in the rough, and he's kicking his ball. Don't count that. And he keeps kicking it a couple more times, and he's not counting the strokes. So yeah, I don't know, Justin.
Heavy stuff.
Maybe it's
not coming for a little bit longer or something like that. Is it when it's
the priest, when Bill Murray's his caddy, and I don't think the heavy stuff's coming until later, and they're showing him these hurricane style winds that he's going through to try to play a round of golf. I think you need to play golf a tad bit more to appreciate it. I mean, it is an outdated movie. Like, you don't really have a lot of caddies, I guess, even at country clubs, but I'm not a member of a country club. So, but I feel like that was, bigger back in the day. And that was, I don't know. I can't believe you don't appreciate that movie.
Maybe I'll give it another watch. We'll have to go golfing again this summer. And maybe that'll start to influence me a little bit. All right. Well, if you enjoyed the show, be sure to like, share, and subscribe on youtube.com/baseball-whatever. Tweet us at baseball-and-what. Instagram at baseball-whatever. TikTok. I say this every week. I don't understand. We make one video, it gets 800 views. We make another video, it gets 3. Email the show at baseball-whatever@gmail.com. Listen to us on your podcast app of choice, whether it's a 5-star, or Apple, Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review if you don't mind. And if you don't want to do any of this, then tell a friend at least that you heard these two goofballs on a podcast and you might want to listen to us. So that is it. Don't forget, you can also text us or leave us a voicemail, 1-913-808-3278. That number again is 1-913-808-FART. Like I said, maybe we'll be back next week. Otherwise, we'll be taking a few weeks off if I can't find some guest co-hosts. But we will be back at some point with more baseball and whatever. Take care, everybody. See you later.
See you.